Welcome back. Well, I have Eileen Paulin here, who is our Director of Media and Communications. So I'd like to welcome you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Lisa.
We're doing our social distancing today.
And I think it kind of took a little bit of a crisis for you guys to get me in front of a camera, but we have some important information we need to share.
Yes, and I know you have a lot to share with us. So by all means, take it away.
Well, it's obviously a very difficult time, and one thing that I think we're all realizing is we are all in this together. It really doesn't matter whether we're under 65, over 65, black, white, yellow, green, male or female. It's something none of us have ever been through before.
Right.
And I have to say I'm just so impressed with how everyone's been pulling together. But communication is so important, especially in a village like this, and we're so diverse. We have a little over 18,800 people living in the village here today. And about 2/3 of those people we know for sure are online, and they do get digital communication. But we also have a pretty good percentage who aren't. So we have a communications challenge.
Yes. So you have about 4,000 people, I think you said, that were not online.
We figure that it's about that amount,
okay.
Yeah.
So what are some things that they should be doing? I mean, hopefully they're watching us today to be able to understand that that is a really important thing, but help guide them on what they should do.
Well, number one, we have such an asset here in the village, and that is TV6, and we've used it for a lot of things, and in other times, maybe a little bit more fun and frolic, sorry. But today it's more important than ever because we can get in here. Yourself and the rest of the TV6 team has just been great about being committed to being here on site to get the information out. And it's really a great place to go. We'll be doing morning updates Monday through Friday every morning. I think people need to get used to the fact we're going to go on at 9 instead of 8:30.
Right.
And the reason for that is it just gives us a little bit of time to kind of regroup as what's happened overnight in the village and make sure we get things straight. Jeff Parker's been doing a great job of coming on and being our spokesperson. But we're also using the village message boards, and we're trying to kind of take down some of the fun things, although we don't want to stop wishing people happy birthdays and things like that. But we will be updating those village message boards regularly, and that can be done remotely, which is really a great asset at this time. So I do want to mention, though, that we do have some people in the village that occasionally have trouble focusing or getting the station. And usually the reason for that is they do not have a set-top box.
Right.
And one of the things that we've been trying to push is to help people understand that, technology has changed and it's not 2008 anymore.
Right.
And in order to really be able to view the stations, and particularly this one, having a set-top box is really important. Well, if you don't have one at the moment, what do? It's really important to learn how to scan the channels on your remote.
Okay.
And I understand that that's difficult for some of our residents, and that's why Broadband Services is here.
Yes.
So Monday through Friday, they are fully prepared and ready to take people's phone calls if they're confused or really aren't sure how to do that. But generally, if you're having trouble, that's the reason why.
Well, that's a good thing. So if you know somebody who is in that situation, share that information with them so they know that they could do exactly what you said. And like you said, that resident services is available on the phone, and they're there, so they are staffed to make sure that they can help you.
They are, and we understand that at this time we need to be as available as possible. Now, of course, life changes, hour to hour at the moment. But at the moment, I believe that VMS has done a really good job. Today's our first day working remote, and we'll be doing this, for the foreseeable future. But those people who know how to help you are wired in and are able to take your phone calls.
Let's tell the residents how you yourself stay in communication. I know we have direct contact with the Orange County Health Department. I mean, obviously, we're all watching the news as best as we can. What are some things that you use?
Well, it's suffice to say, to my family's annoyance, I've been online almost 24/7 for the last month. And I do, of course, have my favorite outlets that I check in the news. But you're right, we are in regular contact with the Orange County Healthcare Agency. Connie Petrie-Norris has been great. Katie Porter's been great. They really understand that we do have a unique community here. And they've been very good about giving Jeff and I input and helping us kind of interpret what's happening. Lisa Bartlett's also been in touch with us. So we do maybe know, first of all, I think it's important to point out, we have a lot of residents who seem to think like do I know who has COVID in the village, and do I know where they live, and you need to tell me, and I need to know. We don't know.
Right.
And the chances are, unless things get much more escalated, we probably won't. And that's because the Orange County Healthcare Agency and our HIPAA laws, both national and statewide, do not permit us to reveal a patient.
Right, right.
And one of the emails I've received recently is, well, I don't believe that. You're not telling me the truth, because how about all these celebrities or politicians? Those people have self-disclosed.
Exactly.
It's very, very different. They've chosen to share that in the hopes that it will help other people.
Right.
So at the moment, we don't have any confirmed cases. That's not to say we don't have them.
Well, right. I mean, testing and things like that are rolling out at a rapid pace.
Right.
And so people are being tested. But again, that's really good information because, you know, HIPAA laws are pretty strict. And I did hear that there might be some, you know, lightening up on that, but you're never going to know exactly who.
We really
for sure.
aren't. And so we have to rely on the same government agencies everybody else does, and that's why we keep publishing. Now, let's just talk about going to the website for a moment.
Okay.
So if you go to the Laguna Woods Village website, we have a button right in the middle of the homepage that says coronavirus updates.
Yes.
We're updating that on a regular basis. The other thing that we're doing there is you'll find all of the websites and the hotline phone numbers that any of our government officials have provided or that we're aware of through the healthcare agencies. You'll also find a list of frequently asked questions, and we are updating that every day. You might say, oh, I've seen the same answer to the same question. We are updating that, and that's based on the emails that we're receiving.
Okay.
And it's important to go there because chances are you will probably find the answer because most of our residents are asking kind of the same kinds of questions.
Okay.
That's a good place to go. We're updating our Facebook page. We have probably a third of our residents are on our Facebook page, but it doesn't take us more than a minute to share the information over there.
Exactly.
We're tending to put a lot of the TV6 updates on our Facebook page, the movies that are running, that type of thing.
Okay, good. And and sharing the information via internet, I think, is a really good thing, especially if somebody doesn't have the TV6. They can always go to the website, like you said, plus the Facebook page. I mean, if what I'll end up helping you do is maybe get some of the interviews that we've done too, so that way people can
and we've
see
been
it
putting the
online
links
too.
on there.
Yeah. Okay.
Another thing I might mention is we've been contacted by several families who live out of state and they're concerned about their family members here in the village. And there's a couple of things that you can do. You can call social services, which, as you know, have extended hours. But if you really are in the middle of the night and you're in Indiana and you're really worried about it, you can direct message us through Facebook, and we're monitoring that. I've talked to several families that way.
Wonderful.
The other thing you can do is send us an email to info@lagunawoodsvillage.com. I'm monitoring that. Elise Rothrock, who we couldn't get through this with, also is. Yeah. And we're getting back to people as fast as we can with their questions answered.
Now, What's Up in the Village? Now, that is a separate email that goes out. You're going to be putting information there as well.
What's Up in the Village is a weekly e-blast that we do every Friday. Traditionally, it's our one thing that we put out there a week to update people. If you're not receiving it, because I've seen some comments on social media from some of our residents, how do you know what's going on? And, for me as a communications specialist, I want to go bang my head against the wall because we hope we're getting information out there. But chances are they're not subscribed. And so we don't just go through, because of privacy laws, we don't just go through the resident list and send this. You have to subscribe to it.
Yes.
So if you're not subscribed, normally we have a different way for people to do this, but I don't want it to be cumbersome. So for now, if you're not receiving any of our communications, send us an email to info@lagunawoodsvillage.com. We need your name, your address, and obviously your email address.
Okay, I think that's perfect because I would find, like my father's 90 and you're trying to walk him through the remote or you're trying to walk him through these things, even just the phone the other day, it's challenging.
It is.
So if you guys can make it super easy for them with the email that you just mentioned, then what would you do in return? Would you be calling them or would you be sending an email back?
No, we're emailing them.
Okay.
And, I don't want to lie and say I'm up at 3 a.m. in the morning on answering all of these, but pretty close to it. And, as things are evolving here, we'll get more and more staff available that will be able to answer those questions. But, we're pretty wired in right now. Myself and Elise and the team in the CEO's office is just doing an amazing job. Okay. So we try to get back to you. Can I talk just for a minute about some of the sort of off-the-wall emails that we've received?
Well, you certainly can. I was actually waiting for you to mention them.
Well, we've received some interesting ones, and let's just say it's better for me to answer some of these after I've had a good night's sleep, because there have been a few that have been very self-centered. A lot of hand pointing, you should be this, you should be that.
Yes.
I think it's really, first of all, important for people to understand that Village Management Services is not a social services agency.
Yes.
This is an active adult living community. I mean, we're not going to set up hospitals in the clubhouses. We don't have any better access to 10 pallets of toilet paper than anybody else does that we should be distributing in the clubhouses. Mm-hmm. We do not have the ability to test all of our residents. Right. That was a zinger I got last night. You know, if the healthcare agency, if you go on their website, ochealthinfo.com, it'll show you how many test kits are available in the county right now and how many of them have actually been used.
Yes.
If that's all they can get, there's no way. We just, you know, we're not magicians.
Exactly, right.
So that's one thing. At the same time, we've received some wonderful emails from people, very thankful, appreciative that we're getting back to them. Mm-hmm. Some push back on the gate closures.
Right.
But I think as this progresses, people will understand. We have to look out for our gate ambassadors. We have to look out for our staff. And, you know, the more this progresses, I think we'll all be thankful that we have reduced the number of gates being opened.
Exactly, exactly. And, you know, it's all for the protection of the people.
It is. It is.
And so, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Now, if they don't have email access, is there a phone number that they can call?
There is. Okay. Now, unfortunately, the recording on it can only go so long. But every evening, I've been recording an update at a telephone number. I guess you could call it our COVID hotline.
949-268-2019.
So what we're trying to do there is just, if there's been any big development, we're giving you information, and then of course reminding you of where you can go.
Okay.
You know, I think it goes without saying that this is a time of kindness. Mm-hmm. If you have a neighbor in your building or in your cul-de-sac that you know is not online, perhaps doesn't have any family members, this is a time to knock on their door. You know, if you have a printer, maybe you print out some of these communications and you share them with them.
Oh, that's a great idea.
A lot of people have asked us about meals and how to get food and again, this type of thing. We have put together a resource guide. It's on the website. The link to it's also on our Facebook page.
Okay.
First of all, I have to say we can't be liable for whether any of the information changes. Yes. But one of our team did spend a great deal of time going through and calling all the local grocery stores, food delivery services, finding out who's making deliveries. Obviously, Restaurant 19, I know we've been promoting that. They are doing meal delivery, and we're very, very appreciative of that. We do know the food banks are open, although they're looking for volunteers. They need people to help get the food out to people. You know, a lot of our local people are just really reaching out. Chick-fil-A just came out with a really nice offer, and that is for each meal they deliver here in the village, they'll donate one to
that's great.
a resident in need.
Oh, that's great.
Which is very, very nice.
That's great.
So that information's all on our website. It's a PDF file that they can download and share, and we'll continue to update that.
Perfect. That is excellent. One last thing, let's talk a little bit, you mentioned social services. So they have extended hours from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. And I know we've spoken to Jeff about this as well. Remind us again what they're here for.
Well, they're here to help people with obviously special needs. They've already have a very large client load before this all happened. But Susan McInerney, who runs that department, and her team are exceptional. And they also want to be available if a resident is feeling particularly anxious and you know, we all deal with these things differently. Mm-hmm. They're available to talk to residents. You know, we were chuckling a little bit in a meeting the other day that their phones have been kind of quiet, and then we pushed this out, and the phones have been ringing incredibly a lot. So I'm sure that occasionally people will have to leave a message, and they'll get back to them. They're also available, as I said, for out-of-state families that are a bit concerned. Mm-hmm. We have a wonderful security department here, and the two groups work very closely together. Right. So, you know, we can go out and do checks if somebody hasn't heard from their mother or father for a while.
Right.
But they're here to also help connect with resources. But again, we're not medical professionals.
Right.
So, you know, we won't be sending a COVID-19 test kit to your manor, but they work very closely with all of our healthcare agencies in the area.
Well, you're doing a great job.
We're trying.
Thank you for staying up all the
Yeah.
hours of the night to
Well,
make sure everything's
you
good.
know, those of us in the Media and Communications Department, and this includes TV6, we love what we do, and we understand that we have a commitment. You know, your team, by the way, I want to just mention, is going to be spending a great deal of time yourself and some of the others helping us put together some content that we think will help entertain people, maybe some additional exercise programs.
Yes.
I know you're doing a lot of research into, you know, great places to go to maybe download a book for free or that type of thing. So watch for that next week. The team's doing a great job of finding movies that we can air.
Yes.
That's, if I can just touch on that too. It's just because of the logistics we have, we can't always update the movie guide. So bear with us. It's just, I won't bore everyone with the details, but you might tune in and see there's a great movie playing and say, I didn't know this was coming. Well, we got it up there as fast as we could. So.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, thank you again. We appreciate you coming on.
Well, everybody be well. You know, we're going to ride through it, and we sure care about all of you, and we're here to do our best.
All right. Thank you very much. And remember that all of this information that we just discussed is available on the website. So you can always go to lagunawoodsvillage.com. And for the COVID information, you can always click on the red button, and there's plenty of information out there for you, and we'll keep updating it as much as we can. We'll be right back.